Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be covering the Tengu World Championship 2026. Tengu format is one of my favorite formats. It's kind of right after Edison, I believe, maybe a year after Edison, and it has a lot of very interesting gameplay, a lot of very interesting decks, and you have a lot of these things that weren't part of Edison. You have more end traps, you have XYZ summons, you have a lot of things. I think Tengu format is the last format where XYZ summons are not completely broken, maybe because once you get already to some of the later formats and you have so many options with XYZs, it just becomes too strong. But really fun format, very underrated. I mean, you can see even the World Championship only had 20 players. That's something kind of how the tournament was organized. But at the same time, I do think that there's a lot of opportunity for this format to grow. And kind of part of the issue for it in the past is that it's very close to Edison, which is such a popular retro format. And there's a lot of kind of how to say, like back and forth between Edison and Tengu players. I love both formats, frankly. I do like the options, the additional options you have in Tengu, but of course this goes against kind of the slower gameplay, which is more similar to GOAT format that you have in Edison. Very fun format. They just had the World Championship. You can see already here the winning deck was Zombie, which is a rogue deck, also in Tengu format. So very interesting that Zombie was first. I think 2 years or a year or 2 years ago, Falcon Control won the tournament by Himne. Very good player. Also rogue deck. And the most popular decks in Tengu format are Plant Synchro and Agents. You do see that in top 4, but when you go down and you look at the deck representation, you have a lot of different options. You have there were only 3 Agents and 3 Plant Synchro in the tournament. The rest was all kind of 2 Infernity, TG Stun, Right Swarm, just a lot of different decks. And why a lot of people say that it's Tengu Plant format is named this way, because Tengu Plants, that's not by far the only deck that is played. I think there's a lot more variety in a format like this than even in Edison, because in Edison you see that a big chunk of this would be Vayu Turbo, Blackwings and Frogs, and then a few other off meta decks or rogue decks, but even then you would have GBs, right, so like still strong decks here, but generally speaking, it's much more condensed in Edison, which makes sense because it's an older format. It's not so much an older format, but it's a more played format, so it's kind of more the players more gravitate towards the best decks. And yeah, a lot of, you see here in the top main deck cards, a lot of the new cards that you don't have in Edison. Tour Guide, such a strong kind of dark monster that it just makes you an XYZ summon with 1 card, very strong card. Warning, basically a generic trap that stops any summon. Baxi, such a strong hand trap. Even effect very strong. Pot of Duality, just adding consistency. There's a lot of very good cards that I think add a lot to the game. Of course, Maxi is something that's hated by a lot of players, but even Maxi, it's a way to punish combo decks, and at the same time, the way you play with Maxi just adds, or with and against Maxi just adds another level of complexity to your plays. For example, in Edison format, unless you're doing something that can be stopped by DD Crow, if there are no traps, you're gonna have to, you're basically free to almost do anything. Maybe there's fairy decks have Herald, but other than that, you're not thinking about Maxi effect there, so you cannot get punished less for bad plays that play into that. Of course, the flip side of that is that it can be very strong in certain situations. Here, the way the tournament kind of was set up, I could be mistaken, but I believe was 2 brackets, winners brackets and a losers bracket, and so basically the losers are to play a finals to then play the winner. So I think that's how kind of the event was organized, and I will go over some of the replays in another video. This channel so far has been basically only about Edison format, but I do really like Tengu format, and I do want to bring more content for this type of format as well. I hope you guys would like it. I know most of you at this point are mostly interested in Edison, so I will continue doing of course, Edison format first, but I will try to kind of sprinkle in a little bit of Tengu format as well, because these are the two formats I prefer to play. One more thing I forgot to mention is that we're using the format library website. I'll leave a link to this in the description of the video. This is very useful website. Use it for any format. You will find deck lists, you'll find replays, you find events. Very nice website to use. One of the best resources you can have for kind of retro format Yu-Gi-Oh! So I recommend you check it out if you don't, of course, know about it already. Going to the first deck, the number one player, Arfio, congratulations to him, won with Zombie, which is not, it's similar to Edison. It's kind of a rogue deck. It's not really a meta deck in Tengu format either. And you have a lot of just very good card, very good dark monsters. You have the two guys, Sangan. Sangan is just such a prevalent card in Tengu format, because you can search out of tour guide and you can add so many things. You can add the Maxis, Varus, you can add your plants that you need, and just very strong card. You have the Dark Armor, of course, and then the Zombie engine and the Caiuses. Yeah, just very strong kind of dark package. And you have here enemy controllers, which in this type of deck with all the Frodos you play, very good. You have this is basically, there's no brain control in Tengu format, so this is kind of the closest thing to a brain control, because you can regress your attack with it and tribute it as well. You have Pot of Duality, adding consistency. I really like this, because you have a lot of things you're gonna set and pass with this deck, so Pot of Duality just lets you search your deck very well. Interesting choice of Karma card. This is a very kind of interesting techie type of card. It makes sense, because if you're expecting to play against plants or against agents, I mean, something like this could hit something in the graveyard that hurts, but it is very interesting choice to have this as one of the few traps you play in the deck. And then the Solemn package, of course, and that should Torrential to build. Nothing too fancy there, but the side you have Black Horn of Heaven. Just starting with this card, because this really hurts agents, really stops any Synchro and XYZ plays, so very strong card. You have MSDs, you have the Reaching the Light for agents, Light Thrones, you have Cybers for, I guess, Machina decks, even though I would say that I don't think they're quite, actually no, this is quite good against also Karakuri. So yeah, you do have, the Cyber Dragons are good against a number of decks here as well. Skill Drain is very interesting choice. You don't have that many cards with effects that you really need to, not get hurt by Skill Drain too much, because you can go into a strong Synchro play and just kind of protect it with under Skill Drain. Strapstone is good against the TG decks or the back row heavy decks. And overall in decks like you see, you can go into Naturia Beasts with this deck, which is impressive, because you can do that with Goraborg and Turdor or Mizuki. And then you have Brionac, of course, the TG, Librarian, and then Trishula, the best Synchro in Tengu format. You do have 3 XYZ plays. You're mostly going to rank 3s with the tour guy, but you can go into rank 4s. It's good to have them there, especially the tour guy is such a strong card when you have Reviar, Leviathan. Just gives you access to a rank 3 play basically with one card. The second place deck list was Plant Synchro by Carl Yu-Gi-Oh! 94. One of the strongest deck is Plant Synchro. The reason why it's so strong, you just have all these broken plants, Spore, Globorg, Dandelion, Fire. You have Reborn Tengu, which is when you can start going into Synchro, such a broken card just continuously regenerates itself. And so you kind of have this combo aspect of it, where you can go into TG, Librarian, and Formula, and draw 2 cards, and then during your opponent turn you can go into a Black Rose. You have this control gameplay with Thunder King, Tour Guide. You can go into BLS. Like you have kind of Thunder King is very strong into this in this the format, because it stops a lot of the boss monsters. You have the BLSs, the Chaos Sorcerer, the Hyperions against agents. This is very strong. It stops a lot of things, stops a lot of the searching effects, stops the Sangan. So very good card in this format. It has some bad matchups, but it's mostly quite good. And then you have Tour Guide, such a strong normal summon. You have Maxis, of course, Varus, because this is also Tuner, so just very strong deck overall. You have Akaius that just can help you out a lot of things. And then you have kind of all these one-off spells and only 6 traps. Basically the board clearing traps, torrential Mirror Force, the Solemns, and then traps that should very kind of sensible list. The enemy control is quite good in this deck too, because you can go into synchros. You have a lot of kind of payoffs for this. And then in the side deck you have Crows, the third maxi for the mirror match and for like Infernity and combo matchup. You have Brackhorn, you have Debunk. Debunk is basically one of the only answers to the hand traps like maxi, so very strong card in this format. You have Decrease for back row heavy decks, Lance to push through some plays, because you don't always want the clear, because you do play a number of traps yourself. The Crow's Forest I think is against like Gravekeepers, because yeah, it basically helps. It's basically a fear spell, so it helps get rid of the opponent's fear spell. And yeah, we went over the extra deck. I mean, basically it's very similar. You have the Trishula, you have the broken synchros, you have Orient to out opposing synchros, and then you have a few XYZ options. It's very common to see double Leviathan, because you do make this more often than Revier, especially kind of going first or starting off. And so yeah, it's common to see this, because with the tour guides you can do this usually at least twice a game if you draw two tour guides. So very good tech, and congratulations to Yu-Gi-Oh! For getting second place. In third place we have Agents. I am in Tengu Format generally an Agent player. I've played many other decks as well, but I do really like Agents. I like it simply because of the consistency, because it's one of the strongest like engine decks. The consistency meaning that you have Earth that can search your Venus, and just Venus on its own can summon 3 of these guys and go into Agachi, so basically becomes a 2000 beater. So this is already on its own an out to Thunder King, which is a very annoying card for this deck. I also like the Trooper version. Trooper, another out to Thunder King, and out to there's the dragon monster that doesn't let you special summon, Dark or Red monster. This is an out to that. This crashing to Thunder King is a very good feeling, because it basically is a +1 for you. Plus it mills you, gets you set up for the Christia, for the Hyperion. Yeah, I also played 3 maxi until recently. Been playing 3 maxi because just your toughest matchup I think could be the Plant matchup, because you don't play many traps, so the maxi is very strong. You have of course the BOS. You can argue playing also the Chaos Sorcerer, but he doesn't play it here. Honest. You have 3 Heralds. Herald is such a strong hand trap as well, because you have so many targets. It's almost never dead. You can search it off Sangan. It is basically out very strong monsters that have effects. And it's very difficult to play around this, because of course they can play around it by attacking first, but generally speaking, like they're not gonna. They need their effects to make a monster that can out your Christia. So this deck, if you can end on a Christia, and you have you basically, unless they have Dark Core, like you're basically going to win. Targadia very strong in this deck, because you always have many cards in hand. Like Earth will search your card, Maxi draws your card. Like you generally have many cards in hand. Christia gets your card back in hand, and Hyperion. Like the fact that Christia and Hyperion you can summon even normally, like you don't have any point, makes this card of the Hunted very strong, because let's say you mill one of Trooper, or your Hyperion gets negated, or gets sorry, not negated, gets destroyed during the game. Card Hunter just becomes a free Hyperion or Christia, and you can chain this to somebody uses Reborn, you chain this on a Christia, and the Reborn can summon, so this can be very strong. And then you have all the strong spells. Mind Control I like, because you have a lot of tuners in here as well. Like all the Heralds are tuners, the Earths are tuners, so very strong. Plus you have XYZ options as well in this deck, so very strong. And then you have 3 mysteries for back rows, very sensible. I don't always play 3 mysteries. I feel like this is not good against Agents. It's okay against Plants, because some of them play traps, some of them don't play that many. It's good against a lot of the other decks like TG, Falcon Control, and I will for sure try this list out in the future. And then you have Dash Shoot, of course, and the Call of the Hunted. In the side, very interesting choices in the side. You have Decrease, which of course makes sense. Rivalry makes sense. I don't understand these 3 Fiendish chains. Maybe it's for the mirror match. I'm really curious about why, having 3 Fiendish chains. 2 Crow's Forest, I mean, guessing for Gravekeepers or Rehearsals there, because you can't summon your Hyperion, you can't there's a lot of things you can do when you're under Necrovalley. Thunder King is good, Cyber Dragon is good, just generic good monsters. Interesting to see that you don't play Crow or you don't play anything. That Messenger piece also very interesting card to be played in this deck. But yeah, I don't know if I agree 100% with the side deck. Of course it worked out for him, but I don't know. I think some of these choices are very off the beaten path, which I don't necessarily mind. I'm just would be curious to understand kind of the reasoning behind them. Horn, of course, for mirror match, and even against Prance, this is good and negates the synchros. And you do have, you know, access to basically all the main synchros with this deck. You don't go into Formia, but you go into the others very often because of the Earth. You can go into Trishula, but basically if your Earth survives a turn and then you go into Venus, you can just go into Trishula. So you know it's always an option. Plus you make Gachi very often. You have, of course, 2 Leviathan and Revier. You also play 2 guys in this deck. You have a lot of dark monsters, you know, which kind of I wonder why not try to squeeze a Cow Sorcerer in here, maybe instead of the third MSC. But again, this was the decision, the decision they made, and yeah, it worked out for them. In 4th place we have Agent again. Here you see the list is a bit different. You only have Dash Shoot. I have even I play a version with just Treacherous Trapor with 3 Upstairs. Very interesting choice. I do agree with playing Upstairs if you find the space for it. The point with a deck like Agents, you see you for sure have to cut something to play Upstairs. For example, you can't play the third MST. I like playing the Jupiter because you often with Earth, after you've used the Venus and the Shine Balls, you do want to add Jupiter because this is an out to Thunder Kings and out to a lot of things. And then you have the Tragoedia, of course, the Tour Guides. I mean, the rest of the monsters is pretty much the same. Book of Moon, interesting to have this in the main. It is an out to opposing Christias and other things, so you know that it does make sense. Enemy Control, also interesting choice. You don't have that many Frodos, but I guess you can argue getting something tributating for Hyperion, Christia, or syncing it with Earth or something. I mean, this card is just good from the point of view that it's, you know, it does catch your opponent off guard if you use it, you know, during the battle step, and then if they summon a monster in attack position, you can kind of, you know, gotcha them a little bit. You have 2 MSTs. You know, you do see Agents playing MSTs because you don't have a ton of ways to play around back. Or, you know, you do have a lot of threats. So, you know, sometimes you summon Venus, and then if Venus doesn't go through, then you have Hyperion. You do have a lot of threats. You have next turn you have Tour Guide. So, like the thing about Agents, just you have so many just very good cards. You have basically 9 very strong starters. And very just a lot of consistency, like Earth getting you the Venus, and the next turn Venus can go into Gachi, and then already you have 4 monsters for Christia, and your Hyperion is live. Just makes this deck very, very strong. Interesting side deck. You have Mind Crash, which is I mean good in like mirror matches and things like that, because this can hit multiple Venuses. It can be quite good. Trapstun for back row heavy decks. Torrential as the one-off trap. No decrease, just more Trapstuns and MST, so which I find interesting. I would also argue playing a Treacherous instead of this, and just siding out the Dashwood going second against some decks. Reaching right in the mirror match is very strong. You have Close Forest, of course. Second enemy control, Turmaxi, Diddy Crow, Cyberlang. You don't play Veru here because you have 3 Heralds, you don't need the Veru here. And then you have this card, which I don't know what this card does. It's just an annoying card that if it gets attacked, basically destroys the monster and inflicts damage, which I guess this can help you out certain things that basically block you like a Christian. So it makes sense playing something like this, because you can summon it, of course. You can summon this off the tour guide. So actually this is very interesting tech that I didn't even know existed, but okay, very interesting card. Going to the extra deck, you have kind of the same extra deck. You have an extra Utopia, because you do have a level 4, you have some level 4s, you can make it with Mind Control. It's good to have the option. I also play Utopia in my Agents. I kind of have almost exactly the same extra deck. I think almost, yeah, basically card for card exactly the same extra deck as this one. And yeah, in the end of the day, you always play the Broken Synchros. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Edison and Tengu content. I try to cover competitive scene, and I hope that is appreciated. I try to have a few different playlists in the channel if you want to get better at Edison format and just learn from my gameplay, or learn from kind of different rulings and things like that. Check it out, and yeah, thanks for watching and subscribe.